There are very few stories in German football quite like the rise, fall, and rebirth of VfB Stuttgart. Once one of the proud powerhouses of the Bundesliga, VfB Stuttgart experienced decline, instability, and relegation. But in recent seasons, the club has undergone something quite remarkable. A revival that has reignited excitement amongst the fans and reminded the rest of German football how dangerous VfB Stuttgart can be when everything comes together. This is a story of the rebirth of VfB Stuttgart. To understand the revival, we have to first go back and look at what made VfB Stuttgart such a special club. VfB Stuttgart has long been one of Germany's most historic football clubs. Founded in 1893, the club built a reputation for developing talented young players and playing attacking football. Stuttgart have won the Bundesliga multiple times, including in 1984, 1992, and most famously in 2007. The 2007 title was one of the most dramatic in German football history. Under manager Armin Veh, Stuttgart stormed through the second half of the season, powered by a young, exciting squad. Players like Mario Gomez, Sami Khedira and Kakao helped deliver the club's fifth German Bundesliga title. And at the time, it felt like the beginning of something special. Stuttgart had a very talented squad, strong youth development, and one of the most dedicated fan bases in Germany. But football moves quickly. Within a few years, the club's fortunes began to change. In the late 2000s and early 2010s, the club started to feel instability. Key players left, managers came and went, and Stuttgart struggled to maintain the levels that made them champions. Instead of fighting for titles in European football, Stuttgart found themselves struggling to stay in the Bundesliga. And of course, for a club of Stuttgart's stature, that was hard to take for the fans. For the supporters, it felt like the end of an era. Sometimes hitting rock bottom can be the start of something new, and for Stuttgart, this was. In the first season into Bundesliga, Stuttgart's aim was to rebuild, not just the squad, but the club's identity. And the club managed to bounce back immediately, winning the league, winning promotion and returning to the Bundesliga at the first attempt. Yet the instability, it wasn't over. In 2019, Stuttgart were relegated again. For many clubs, a second relegation in a short time period can lead to crisis, basically. But in Stuttgart's case, it forced them to rebuild and restructure the club. Instead of chasing expensive signings and quick fixes, Stuttgart wanted to go back to the core of what made the club so great: youth development. Now, the next part in the script, I'm going to try and pronounce correctly. If I pronounce anything wrong, I apologise, but here we go. The region of Baden-Württemberg, I think, has always produced talented footballers, and Stuttgart's academy was historically a huge part of that. Of course, it's one of the best in Germany. Players like Sami Khedira, Joshua Kimmich, and Serge Gnabry all passed through the club's youth academy at some point in their development. Stuttgart decided to fully commit to building a young, energetic squad. One of the key figures in this was the sporting director, let me get this correct, Sven Mislintat, I think. Known for his eye for talent, Mislintat focused on identifying young players with high potential rather than established stars. Players like Borna Sosa, Wataru Endo and Silas Wamangituka all became key parts of the squad during the 2020 Bundesliga season. The team played fast-paced attacking football and they just scored goals for fun. It was entertaining for the fans, which I wish Celtic could do that at the moment. I really wish. Even though they were a newly promoted squad, Stuttgart looked absolutely fearless. But the real turning point for the club was when they appointed Sebastian Hoeneß. Stuttgart once again were going through a difficult period in 2023, but this is when Hoeneß took over. Stuttgart once again were flirting with relegation. The confidence around the club was very low. Many believed that yet again they would drop into the second division in Germany, But Hones had other ideas. Instead, he transformed the squad. He introduced a clear tactic based on aggressive pressing, intelligent positional play, and quick transitions. The players responded immediately. Performances improved, the team became more organised, and Stuttgart began to climb their way out of the relegation zone. But what happened next surprised almost everyone. Instead of fighting relegation the next season, Stuttgart were fighting for the European spots. Obviously, at the heart of the revival were some big names for Stuttgart. The likes of Serhou Guirassy, the striker became the league's most prolific goal scorer, scoring at a remarkable rate and giving Stuttgart a clinical edge in attack. Alongside him, the likes of Denny Zundav and Chris Furyk added creativity and energy in the final third, while captain Wataru Endo provided leadership and stability in the midfield. And at the back, of course, they looked so solid. The defence looked reassured. This gave the attack the freedom to go and do that aggressive press that I spoke about, and everything just clicked perfectly under Hones. It wasn't just the results that made this team exciting, it was the style of play. Stuttgart attacked with speed, moved the ball quickly, and played with a level of confidence that the club was missing for many, many years. Fans who had endured years of frustration could finally believe once more. Week after week, Stuttgart produced performances that reminded everyone of the club's proud history. The rebirth of Stuttgart wasn't just about having a good season. This was celebrating the success of a long-term vision. A commitment to youth, smart recruitment, and attacking football. In many ways, the club had rediscovered its roots. German football has always, as you guys know, celebrated fan culture. It's the best league and best country in the world for fan culture. And the Stuttgart revival was a feel-good story that came out of Germany, getting to see such a historic club come back to where it belongs. And probably the most impressive part of the story is just how quickly it all happened. It was proof that with the right leadership, recruitment, and tactical approach, football can produce incredible moments. Of course, now the challenge for Stuttgart is sustaining that success. For many clubs, they experience a short bit of success and then they fall back into that middle to relegation sort of fight. But it feels different with Stuttgart. It does. It feels like they just have the right people in the right places to make the right things happen. And there can only be positives from here on out for Stuttgart. Stuttgart, I believe, will obviously build more on bringing through more young talents, which they've had such a great success with. Of course, that increases revenue if they, let's be honest, sell players to Bayern Munich, because it feels like that's just what always happens. But it's definitely brought the identity of the club back to life, and it's great to see. For now, this revival of Stuttgart stands as one of the most compelling stories in German football at the moment. From champions to relegation to revival. It's a reminder that in football, no club's story is finished. And if Stuttgart carry on in this path, the next chapter of their history could be even more exciting. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope this was interesting, good. I tried to do as much research as I could on as much as I could. If I've missed anything or I have said anything wrong, please let me know in the comments. This channel is all about showing the stories of German football in English. So if you have any stories you want me to make videos on about your club, leave it in the comments, because I want to go on and research as much as I can about other clubs. You'd have seen me recently on Twitter asking a lot of questions, trying to get as much conversation under the replies as possible, asking things like best stadiums, best atmospheres, if you could bring a player back, a player in the past back for your club, who would it be? I'm trying to get a perspective on what people like, what they want to see. So anything you want to see in the comments, please let me know, because I'm really enjoying getting back into the YouTube thing. I've got a laptop now, so I can actually do a lot more work when I'm busy. I can just pull the laptop out, edit videos, So yeah, hopefully this video was good. Any VfB Stuttgart fans in the comments, let me know what you thought. Don't forget to like, subscribe and comment. Follow me on Twitter. And until next time, I shall see you later.